Today I want to look at betrayal, specifically 3 different types of betrayal. Webster's 1828 dictionary defines betrayal a violation by treachery or fraud, also a violation of trust. Think about your experiences of betrayal. What have they been like? What happened? What didn't happen? And I want to take us through today 3 different types of betrayal. The first type of betrayal is what I call self-betrayal. And that's when you know better, but you do it anyway. The Arbinger Institute has a fantastic book on this called Leadership and Self-Deception. If you haven't read it, pick it up, because they go into a lot of detail on what this type of betrayal looks like. Their terminology for self-betrayal is when you get in the box. I'm in the box because my self-perception, based on my self-deception, causes me to look out at other people as if they are the problem. It leads to justification, collusion. I'll give you a couple of examples. Let's imagine that you're working and you have a project that's due. And frankly, you haven't felt like doing your project. So you don't do it. You wait, you procrastinate, and the day of the project comes, and instead of saying, I feel stuck, I haven't done the project, I haven't completed it, it's going to be past the deadline, you say, oh, I've been sick the last 2 days. I know none of you have ever done this, but just in case. That is a self-betrayal because you're saying something about yourself that's not true, and you know that it's not true. But then here's where the tricky part happens. After you say that to yourself, and then of course you communicate it to your boss or whoever's waiting for the project, then you start imagining, well, I don't really actually feel that great. I have a little bit of a cough, and it doesn't matter because so-and-so never does their project on time. I'm usually the only person that does work around here. There's a lot of slackers in my organization. I shouldn't have to be the only one that shows up. We start pointing the finger, blaming. And then the collusion looks like I'm inviting other people into my story. So maybe I pick up the phone and say, yeah, I haven't been feeling well because I didn't do this project, but so-and-so and so-and-so who work with me, they didn't do their part either. I actually never got what I asked for from them. We invite other people into our own self-betrayal, all the while knowing that it's not based on anything that actually happened. But what we do as human beings is it doesn't matter if it actually happened or not, because what we will do is we will tell ourselves it happened long enough that we believe it actually happened. How many of you have ever talked yourself into not feeling well, or talked yourself into not being able to do something or complete something or keep your word because you have decided that it was easier to create a whole nother narrative? Now, self-betrayal is very common, and you'll know that you're in self-betrayal if everyone else looks like the problem. When you start looking out at the world from your box, being in your box, you'll notice other people seem like they're in their box and that they're a problem and that they're the ones actually not showing up and not doing the things that they need to do. Self-betrayal can be very blatant. It can be very subtle. We've all done it. We all do it at different times. I might not like the way someone behaves, and instead of having a conversation with them, I tell myself that they don't really care and it's fine and I don't need to talk to them about it. And then I just withdraw my participation from the relationship. And I say that's fine because I've already decided for them that they don't care and it doesn't mean anything. And I've decided now I'm just doing them a favor because I'm doing what they really want, clearly. And these are the little games that we play with ourselves day in and day out. And they're betrayals because we're betraying, in a sense, our higher self. We're betraying that part of ourselves that is designed for integrity, that is designed for community, that is designed for imparting this beautiful gift that each of us are to this world. So that's the first kind of betrayal, is self-betrayal. And sometimes that could be the hardest one to see. Often when we are in this mode of self-betrayal, it seems like other people are betraying us. And that's when we look at the second kind of betrayal, when we actually are betrayed by another person. Now, if you've been betrayed by another person, which I'm sure you have, we all have, that betrayal usually takes the form of a promise that was made and then broken. Now, that may be an explicit promise, like I'm married and promise to stay faithful. That may be an implicit promise, just a promise that is built in to the relationship by the nature of the relationship, like a promise from a parent to a child, a promise between siblings, a promise between friends. It could look like something that is a promise between coworkers. You agree to this, I agree to that, this is what we're doing together, this is how our team functions. Some of those promises are implicit. They're just, by the nature of the relationship, they're just implied. And when those types of promises are broken, it also can be experienced as a betrayal. Now, what happens when we have that kind of betrayal? Obviously, there is hurt and anger and disappointment. There's self-judgment often comes into that, sometimes blame, either blaming ourselves, blaming the other person. And betrayal is a very normal part of life, and it's a painful part of life. None of us get up in the morning looking to be betrayed or looking to betray other people necessarily. Now, I want to go to the third type of betrayal, and this is perceived betrayal. So it's a little bit like 1 + 2. So this third one is, I have betrayed myself by an expectation that I haven't communicated to you. And this is also very common. So I feel betrayed. I feel betrayed because you decided to move and didn't tell me. Well, did we have an agreement about that? Or did I just assume that you would tell me if you were going to move? That betrayal could look like, I expect to get a promotion because I have done this, and the other thing. But I've never had a conversation with anybody about getting a promotion. I've never asked. I've never said, what do I need to do to get this promotion? I just have an expectation that based on my fill in the blank, my performance, my projects, my track record, that I should have a promotion. And then I don't get the promotion. I feel betrayed. Now, is that an actual betrayal? Did somebody promise something and then fail to deliver? Or am I betrayed by my own unspoken expectations and assumptions? And this is a very common type of betrayal. There's been many times in my life I have convinced myself that I was betrayed in a relationship, in a friendship, at work. But when I paused and really dissected it, did some forensics, I realized there was never an agreement in place. The agreement was in my mind. I assumed something that I didn't check in on. I expected something that I didn't ask for. And those also can create for us experiences of betrayal, but they're actually not betrayal by the other person. It's a way that we betray ourselves by our expectations or our assumptions, but it seems like it's the other person. So it can be very difficult to untangle them and really look at it for what it is. So how can we get out of the different boxes of betrayal? Well, obviously we can't prevent people from betraying us. That's part of life. That's something that will happen. It will happen to you, and you will also betray other people. Usually you're not even aware of it when it happens. And if that's true for you, then imagine that other people may not be malicious in their betrayal either. Something to consider as you look to heal from a betrayal. How do we get out of the other box, the boxes of our self-betrayal? We stop and we start paying attention to our conscience, number one. We start listening. What is really true? I knew I should do this, but I did that instead. I said I would meet my friend tomorrow morning to go for a run at 6 a.m. I woke up at 5:30, but I went back to sleep because I figured I would just tell them that I overslept. It can be the smallest of things, but every time we betray ourselves, we give ourselves permission the next time to do it on a larger scale, to add something to it, to do something more. So follow your conscience. Pay attention. Be honest with yourself about what you really want and what's really true for you, and be willing to talk about it. How do you get out of the box of perceived betrayal? Do the forensics. Stop and ask yourself the hard questions. Was there an agreement in place? Did we have a conversation about this? Was this just my expectation? Was this just an assumption I made? Was this just something maybe I felt entitled to that I never spoke about? Ask the hard questions of yourself first and see what you can find. Betrayal is a part of life. You're not going to get out of ever having it happen, but you absolutely can minimize the type of betrayal that you experience in life. If this video was valuable for you, hit that like button. Put something in the comments section. I would love to hear what you do some forensics on your own types of betrayal. What did you learn and what did you see?